What is the women equivalent of a tech bro? Have you ever considered that as women founders, as leaders, perhaps we're not making ourselves visible enough? Because language, according to sociology, only emerges when there is actually a need for it, meaning that, if there is a concept that has become mainstream enough, then we ourselves have started to name it. And essentially, when you look at it, all these different labels, the phrases that we use that become the daily part of our lives, we invent them because we feel a need to invent them. So what is the equivalent? What is the equal word for a tech bro if you're a female founder? Have you ever considered this? Are you creating content? Are you creating, videos? Are you telling your stories enough? One thing that really caught me up on this, and really I want to tell you this, basically, I believe that as female founders, we're not sharing our stories enough. Welcome to another episode of Unscripted Stories of a Female Founder. This is your host, C, and it's great to see you today. I would like to talk about how, as female founders, we're not making ourselves visible enough, and therefore, this is really our responsibility to tell our story ourselves. If we do not own the narrative, they will. You cannot let someone else tell your story. Just like this one. This is a podcast that we're building from scratch together. We're going to be shaping this together. We're going to be, who knows, maybe hosting different female founder stories here together. And we're building this together as a collective. And me putting this out there basically enables me to tell my story directly myself. Not basically through, a third-party source, not someone could, talk about the statistics. Now, not someone could basically talk about my story, referring, something that I haven't said and something I haven't had a chance to comment on. So if you're a female founder, if you're a female builder, if you're a woman founder, you have to tell your story. You have to talk about what you're doing. On LinkedIn, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, whatever your medium is. It could be Medium too. It could be writing your own, website, on blogs. You should build your email list. You should create email campaigns. You should tell your story. Silence is truly the worst thing that it can do. And I know that because when we're heads down building, and there is always so much to do, there will always be something that is more urgent than this, but believe me, this is worth the investment. Because if you start putting your story out there in your own narrative, then you will start attracting people who would like to work with you, who that you would like to work with, collaborate with, partner up in exciting projects that you otherwise couldn't able to. How did this start for me? So I was honestly really, really afraid of putting my out there. And my artist side here really, basically was the side that I was able to learn from. So the first time I put it, I started putting my content out. And this was really in the form of poetry back in when I was 9th grade. And I created my website using Wix for the first time. And I was like really scared I would not actually write the ones that I was afraid of publishing. And then I basically didn't do anything with that website for a very, very long time. So then in the pandemic, I decided, you know what, I have to do this, because if I don't do this, then someone who could benefit from my words may never hear what I have to say. And therefore, maybe they don't know what they're going to do with their, current life decision. And maybe if I put this out there, this could be a channel for them. And therefore, this had become a responsibility for me. This is a channel. It's like you and I are having a conversation together, having a coffee together. And this is so important to me that I get to share with you. And I value this so much. So every second that you actually put a video out there, put something that belongs to you, that the organic version of you, it really means something to your audience. In this case, what happened with that, poetry blog is that after having, worked with this server that I started co-working people online, and basically had that on my tagline there. And what happened is that people had started clicking, people started landmarking that. And with zero marketing budget, I was able to reach people from 36 different countries, own marketing. People would send me incredible comments saying how much it means to them to be able to read this, how, it was a landmark for them. And also when I basically have changed things a little bit down, it also led me to, lose that part of the audience. So people were also asking me, what was in the domain, how they could reach out to reach out to new pieces, and essentially really created a channel for them that was really strong, and that they, just even if for 5 minutes would go on and, click on that bookmark and just read a new piece that would basically help them navigate a next life decision, or perhaps just, chill for 5 minutes and reset their minds. So to me, that was really the place that I started, because I was super scared, like you, in putting my content out there. This is not perfect, and it shouldn't be perfect, especially in the age of AI. I don't know about you, but what I'm seeing is so much AI content out there, and I know that it makes things easier for us. But when it comes to videos, I really would like to see human beings. I really value this communication that we have going. And it really means something to me that I'm able to talk to you as a human being to another human being. And that's why I'm really keeping this raw and basically talking to you as if I would if we were on a video call. So that said, please tell your story. Here's another reason why you should tell your story, and here's how it started for me. I'm so lucky because I found my greatest passion so early in life, and that's writing. At the age of 7, we had a mandatory storytelling course, and in the storytelling or story writing course, there was a series of books that we have studied in, first grade, second grade, third grade, and also fourth grade. And what those books taught us is the following. So these books were unique because, that time I was just learning how to write, how to read. I was just a, basic 7th grader. But that the courses have totally transformed my life. Storytelling and being able to write, being able to find my voice so early in life, I owe it to that simple course that has started everything, and I have to give a massive credit here to our academic coordinator here. And I'm also super, super lucky to have thanked him in person a few years ago in our alumni gathering. And I could really say that he has started everything for me in terms of that writing course. So here's how it went. Basically, in every book, there would be a story. So these stories would either have their beginning, their bodies, basically the middle of the stories, or their ending. Or sometimes it would just be about theme. So it would say, this is a story that's taking place that is, something. So it would give a theme, and then we would basically be expected to write the whole story based on that theme. So, starting from the beginning, because we don't know how to write a story yet. So it would give us a beginning, and then we would be asked to continue that story. The sheeps went to a forest. So what happened to those sheeps? They go into the wonderland. The time lapse happened. Was it another, something similar to Inception? Maybe we traveled in time, and maybe we're just looking at the Great Library of Alexandria. Maybe the dinosaurs have never disappeared and the sheep have become dinosaurs, and maybe they were dinosaurs. So the creativity there was incredible to explore as a child, and I cannot imagine another course enabling me to do the same thing. And that's why I think it's really important that, that I get to tell you how this all started for me. So these stories would either, have their beginning, as I would say, then you would write the middle, or you would write the end. But what really matters here is that this story writing course for me was such a big lesson that I see it now. Just like this course, life gives you a beginning. Do you see what I'm going with this? So you get this beginning in the form of your experiences, obstacles, categorical obstacles, as I have been recently talking about. However, it's on you to decide what you will do with these experiences and obstacles. So essentially, you are the writer of that story. You are deciding what to do next in your own storyline because you're the protagonist. You are the main player in this game. And it is a game. Enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, then it really doesn't make much sense to continue as does it. So essentially, it's really important that you notice that life has given you a start, but life has not yet given you a middle. Life has not yet given you an ending, which means that you are creating this as you go. You are creating this with action, and you are creating the next steps, the next milestones with inaction as well. So it really depends on you to decide what you want to do with these blank pages of the story that we call life. I think that's really important to recognize this because once you understand how powerful you are as not just a storyteller, but as the story writer, as the author of this life, as this book, of this story, then you really understand how valuable this is. So you could say, no, I don't have the power to, do as I will with my life. I don't have the power to basically be able to create the life that I want to live in. And I want to tell you, it is not true. Here's why you have the power to create the life that you deserve and that you own. Because owning your life is so important, we don't talk about it enough. All the things that we have started talking about after the pandemic, how we feel this imbalance, how we feel conflicted, how we're seeking work-life balance, and how we're essentially seeking a more fulfilling work, it's because we are seeking the sense of ownership in our work, in our lives, and we would like to own what we're doing, the life that we're living, our experiences and obstacles. You should own your obstacles too. So that said, here's a secret that really have transformed my life in this case. So your brain is a radio. Hear me out. Your brain is a radio. Your brain is a radio, and yes, you can fine-tune it. Just like you would fine-tune a radio, just like you would fine-tune, an instrument, you are able to fine-tune your brain. Because your brain doesn't just pick up the signal, but it picks up a lot of noise along the way. And what can this noise look like? So it can be that, the basic feeling of, hey, I'm distracted. It could be that your mind feels like a chaotic room, or you have ADHD like me. In that case, there are 80 squirrels running or dancing inside of your brain, or 80 tabs open, and essentially you just cannot focus. That's completely natural. And what I'm going to tell you right now, so you're able to focus on the signal. So let's say, for example, there are these girls running inside my head. I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to find the right thing. And essentially, what I should do is I should find the signal and follow the signal. And my job is to fine-tune it so that I can isolate the signal from the noise. You could call this mindfulness. You could pay thousands and hundreds of dollars to a coach to teach you this. But what I'm telling you is that you are already able to do this yourself. Focus on the signal. Focus on your priorities. Focus on what matters. Isolate, and isolate until you can focus on that one thing. Because once you isolate, you will be able to see and basically pinpoint all the distractions that have been causing distractions in your focus. And you'll be able to say, hey, this was distracting me, so I have removed this out of my way. And essentially, now I know what I'm doing. One thing that's really helped me is that I literally lie on my back and I just stare at the empty wall. It's just at the empty wall. Because staring at the empty wall, I empty my head, I clear my thoughts, and I focus on the signal. Sometimes I do this with music, sometimes I do this without music. Without music is the most effective for me in my case, and it could work differently for you. But essentially, this really helps me understand, okay, there's so much going on. I have to do, gazillions of things, but what does actually matter? What do I want to achieve? Why have I started this project? What am I doing with this? What is my objective in trying to achieve something with this? So essentially, you get to denoise your brain, and you're able to denoise your brain anytime, no matter how impossible it looks. Another secret that I can share with you is actually that you can select a music, basically, like a playlist, for example, a song that, for example, Spotify is great with these, and calm songs that really help you to wire the right brain signals and essentially help you denoise and focus on the priorities, focus on the things that is in front of you, but it actually seems invisible because you're not focusing on it. So to give you a better example, your eye and your brain, they're both like cameras, okay? So remember how you would pick a camera, and it could be your phone camera. And once you basically, press your screen, and the focus of your camera basically would stick on whatever the photo that you're taking. Let's say, for example, I have a mug here, and I'm gonna take a photo of this mug. So what would happen is that if I put the mug here, which as you can see is out of the focus of my camera right there, I am going to see this mug flew. So I'm gonna see this, for example, microphone that is in front of me in a more clear perspective. So if I put this mug from here to here, then the mug will become clear. And essentially, I now see the mug. So your job is to find your mug. Your job is to see your mug. Your job is to find your priorities. So this week, the challenge I have for you is to find your mug. What is it in front of you? And I think this was a very famous quote by Nietzsche, if I'm not mistaken, and one of my favorite quotes again. What is in front of me that I'm not seeing? And this is so valuable because oftentimes we don't see the things that are in front of us. That's why, for example, Sherlock Holmes famously have said, if you want someone to never find whatever that you're hiding, hide it in the bare light, because no one will think of hiding something in bare light, and therefore they will never look at what you're hiding in bare light, and essentially won't be able to find whatever you're hiding there. So this week, find your mug. If it's here, make sure to get it here, and also understand what were the reasons that you haven't been able to focus on before. For example, one core reason that I have found as I have been analyzing my own journey in this is that, for example, I could be procrastinating on something. I could be trying to focus on something else. I could be thinking that I have bottlenecks before I get there. So it could be that, I have a lot in my head, and maybe I didn't think that this was a priority, but I found that this is. Why haven't I found it as a priority before? So understand your reasonings, because the more that you understand yourself and how your brain works, then you have a better advantage in being able to fine-tune and denoise your brain, which essentially gets you to the point of success. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Unscripted Stories of a Female Founder. I hope that you have enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And I read all of your comments. Thank you so much for all the support that you have been showing me, and I look forward to seeing you on the future episode, and have a great day.